Hickory Store Barbecue, Good Company Cafe, Apple Lane Farms, the Decatur location, and rounds of golf at Cherokee Ridge Golf Course and Gunter's Landing. And that's what's happening.
This is Unsportsmanlike.
Unsportsmanlike. It's my boldest take of the season, and that's that Aaron Rodgers will win the MVP award.
I'm expecting that Anthony Richardson will win MVP.
I think the Cleveland Browns are going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I think the Cleveland Browns are the one team that could actually take the Chiefs out.
Every word of what you just said is wrong.
Hey, don't you want to listen to more of us? We're on Sportsmanlike here on ESPN Radio.
You have the best chance of being right a year later with your bold take.
Unless. There's a big unless.
What?
Rodgers to Minnesota.
That's the unless.
And then I'm in the driver's seat.
I
I'm
think
in the
you
pole
are.
position.
In the bad take to good take power rankings.
Worst to first?
Yeah, and the worst to first. Well, who was worst last year?
Mine was the worst.
So he doesn't have a chance to be first.
I don't know.
No
Yours is
shot.
pretty bad, too.
Why? They had the second pick of the draft.
That's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
But if
At least my guy had a winning record.
Listen, mine wasn't great either. I'm not saying good here.
well, your guy having a winning record. Do the Colts know that? Because I don't think they do. I don't think they realize they actually won more games than they lost with Anthony Richardson in the lineup. I don't get it. Anyway, ESPN is bringing sports fans a brand new way to stay updated on the latest headlines, including all the bad takes we've had in QB Carousel, top moments and expert insights with SC Plus, a fresh take on SportsCenter exclusively on Disney Plus. Here's what you get: daily sports news, insights, exclusive commentaries, fast-paced, streamlined format centered around the SC Top 10 Countdown. When is it? 9 a.m. Eastern every single day. Who is it with? Gary Streisky, Randy Scott.
Our guys.
Weekends. Randy Scott still telling a story about Tom Brady from last week. We've actually muted him, and he's still telling this story about a wedding with Tom Brady's sister. Hour number 47 of that story.
And he said it was an expedited story.
And the weekend edition hosted by Hannah Storm and Jay Harris after SCAM, all on Disney Plus with SC Plus. All right, let's get you up to speed here on the QB Carousel. We are all very into this. I think we're all very shocked that we are in the place we're in because the QB Carousel right now in NFL offseason and free agency is so juicy, but it all stems around Aaron Rodgers, a guy that CC said for the better part of the last year, I don't think he's going to have a market. I think he may be done. Smalls then got to the place of agreeing. Then I did. Then I came off of it and said, nope, I think he's going to be signed day one. Well, it's day 4 now. He's still not signed. So what is it? Very simply, Russell Wilson wants to be on the Steelers. The Steelers want Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wants the Vikings. The Vikings may not want Aaron Rodgers. Russell Wilson may have to go to the Browns where he's visiting today. The Steelers may not have a quarterback. And where does that leave Aaron Rodgers? This is the confusion going on right now. But the most practical, tangible piece of info is Adam Schefter saying that Russell Wilson is visiting with the Browns today. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst, NFL Live. What does that mean for Cleveland?
If you're Cleveland and you're trying to and potentially signing Russell Wilson, it makes me think quarterback would be off the table at 2. And then you have to factor in who that player would then be at 2 for Cleveland. And it's more than likely going to be Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. Mm-hmm. So then if you tell me it's Cleveland with Travis Hunter and the offensive line and Kevin Stefanski and Russell, this is a team because of their talent that can absolutely compete if Russell Wilson is the starting quarterback with the addition of a player like Travis Hunter. I mean, I think that they're playing meaningful games in December with the chance to be a playoff football team.
Wow.
It's not crazy, though, man. I mean, Joel Bitonio is coming back. He didn't retire. You got Jerry Jeudy, who had 1,200 yards receiving last year. You got David Njoku, who's a Pro Bowl tight end. If you add Travis Hunter and Russell Wilson to that offense, yeah, I could see a world where that offense is respectable, at least more formidable than what the Pittsburgh Steelers were bringing to the party last year.
Wait, rank them. Let's do the AFC North. Let's pretend let's do exactly what Orlovsky said. Russell Wilson is on the Browns. They draft Travis Hunter at number 2.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, well, half of that's right. Drew's here. I am Joe Hunk. Talking Ball is rolling on what day is this? Wednesday, Thursday? Thursday. Everything is running together. I have no idea what day it is. I absolutely have no clue what's going on.
Hey, this is one of those weeks, man. There's so much going on. This is probably, honestly, especially since we moved, this is from what we're doing each and every day, this is probably the busiest week of the year. And we got so many people wearing so many hats. So
absolutely. Ever see that I think there's like a Dr. Seuss book where a person has like 42 hats on top of his head and he's trying to, yeah, that's kind of a lot of us right now is doing it because Scott is up in Indy. He's doing
all week.
All week. He's working NCAA swimming. He's doing that. You have Tom is somewhere on a boat somewhere. In the water. And then
somewhere called Pickwick. That's what I learned.
Pickwick. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's on a boat somewhere. And at the moment, Steve Moulton is heading to the airport to get on the plane with UAH basketball to head down to Fort Lauderdale for their first round matchup. That's going to be taking place on Saturday. And then once these two shows wrap up today, John and myself are going to be hopping in the car and heading to Pelham for the Havoc and the Bulls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you're doing a road game.
Yes. Doing the Havoc and the Bulls down in Pelham today. And then tomorrow we'll be back here. Same lineup, same schedule. And then John has softball that he's going to be doing it with West Florida over at Charger Park. I'm going to be at Toyota Field for a doubleheader.
I'll tell you, this is how busy this week has been. I was prepping for the show last night and we didn't even mention it because look, first of all, there's so much basketball going on. I mean, you just mentioned some of what Steve's got going on. He's flying to Nova. We had UAH Day yesterday pretty much for the send-off.
Yep.
Mid Kedgepeth joined us, and before that, Alan Sharp, and the ladies are going to Union. I didn't even realize, honestly, guys, because we've been trying to kind of figure out if UAH baseball was going to be over at Toyota Field. Auburn was at Toyota Field this week.
Yeah. Yeah, they play their totally forgot about it.
Yeah. I mean, they
totally forgot about it.
Shout out to Butch Thompson and the crew. They came over here and beat UT Martin 6-1. But that totally flew over my head. I knew they were coming to play, but I was like, with the Conference USA tournament we've had going on, and today's going to kind of be Conference USA Day a little bit. We're going to catch up with Antoine Petway in the second hour, head coach at Kennesaw State, and then Mike Paris, the longtime voice of the Jacksonville State Gamecocks, because they pulled, I would guess what I'll call it, Oklahoma. They didn't finish their game with FIU last night till just after 10 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was tracking that game to see who would win, and Jacksonville State was the definitive favorite over the 10 seed FIU, who had upset Western Kentucky the day before. But you got to make sure they win. You got to reach out. And so they didn't get done till 10. Needless to say, and Joe, you've covered SEC tournaments. You're a veteran of the Nashville scene. That didn't get over with till 11 last night. So the final game where Oklahoma, I think they're now safely in. I think they were a little apprehensive going into last night, feeling they had finished, I think, in the last 4 out the last 2 years. But I think that win over Georgia last night secured the Oklahoma Sooners getting into the tournament, which means the SEC at minimum will have 13 teams get into the tournament, because I think Vandy's fine, Georgia's fine. But wow, so that didn't get over till 11. So you're just trying to, and then that's when I started prepping or finishing my prep. And I was looking up some Auburn notes, and I said, wait a minute. And I read the game somewhere, and I'm like, I was like, that was this week.
Yep.
I mean, with everything we've got going on in the Rocket City, it just,
No,
and I was like, woof.
And that would be normally something that, you get coach, you would try to get
Try to get
on.
Coach Thompson on, try to preview the game, try to see what's going on. How's the season going so far, which Auburn's 14-3. Shout out there and ranked in the top 25 in the country. And they're going to have Vanderbilt coming into the newly refurbished Plainsman's Park this week because this week is the start of conference play in SEC baseball. But just, wow, so much going on. And I was like, eesh.
Yeah.
So, we've been trying to cover everything from every angle. But, again, appreciate it. Auburn coming up here, competing and beating a solid UT Martin team. Alabama will be here. And we'll be playing in the Rocket City as well. Just crazy. And, of course, I know we've already had Bama softball here, Auburn softball. We had that tremendous showcase, even though we had to move a lot of stuff around for a couple of weeks ago because of weather. But, man.
It's about to happen again.
Yeah,
it's about to happen again.
Speaking of that, on Friday night.
That's the reason why the UAH baseball game over at Toyota Field, it was supposed to be a single game on Friday, doubleheader on Saturday. They flipped that and they moved everything up. So first pitch is going to be, I believe, at noon on Friday for a doubleheader there. And then there's a single game scheduled for Saturday.
Yeah.
If it doesn't happen because of weather, they're going to play that game on Sunday back at Charger Park.
Oh, back at Charger Park. If it's played on Saturday, it'll be at
Toyota Field.
Yeah. So you'll be wearing a lot of hats this weekend. In other words, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that is. And at the same time, I was thinking to myself about, because at the moment I have the SEC network on right now, and they're replaying the Georgia-Oklahoma game. And you were talking about Oklahoma winning last night and securing their spot. It is crazy. They were 6-12 in the SEC. And they most likely secured their spot.
Well, they were the 14th seed.
Yeah,
because the 16th seed, South Carolina, nearly came back from a 20-point deficit to upset Arkansas, which if Calipari had lost that game, then you might be – I don't think you're out, but you might have played your way into Dayton in the first four because, look, you would have been 19-13 and been 0-2 against South Carolina. But they came back. They found a way to win 72-68. And so now they're 20-12. They should be solidly in. And then the one team that I'll be honest, I fell asleep. It was such a beatdown. Mississippi State and LSU. LSU pretty much just, I think, was ready for it to be over. They did not have a good year. I credit South Carolina for playing hard and coming back from a 20-point deficit. But it was 91-62. It wasn't even competitive.
No.
Mississippi State, Josh Hubbard was unreal, hit 6 threes. They hit 15 threes, Mississippi State, as a team. And if that happens, you're not winning. But, again, a shout-out to Mississippi State. We got a lot of MSU alumni here in the Rocket City. They win impressively, so they march on. So, and then Texas, that was the one that was only, to me, a slight surprise. I had Vanderbilt advancing in that one, and to me, that would have been the death blow for Texas being the 14th team, or they would have had no shot. They would have been headed to the NIT at best. But Texas wins. I still think they got to do more damage, though. I mean, they're 18-14 now. It was an impressive win over Vandy, but they've got to win today. They play their rival Texas A&M in that 5-13 matchup. And then probably if you want to be the 14th team in at the least, if they beat A&M, I think they've got to beat Tennessee and then get to the semifinals and win 3 games. But we'll see. But certainly some interesting action over there in Nashville yesterday, and it's kind of the SEC flexing. I think as John Rothstein of CBS Sports said, after Oklahoma, upset, which is a mild upset against Georgia to me. But after they beat Georgia, he's like, the most powerful conference ever so far that we've seen in the regular season and then on into their postseason. But the SEC right now flexing a little bit. Should get 13 teams in, which would be a record. And now the only thing is, how far can Texas get? Can they be that 14th? I still have doubts about that, but we'll see.
Well, right now, Joe Lunardi, he actually updated his bracketology like 4 hours ago after all the games wrapped up. He does have Oklahoma as the last 4 buys, so he thinks that they're securely
They moved
in.
up a row.
They moved up a row. Vanderbilt, he has secure as well. He has Texas as part of the first 4 out, but they're on the very top line. So he thinks that if they play well today and potentially even win today, then they would be in as well. And now the question starts going into his last 4 in are San Diego State, Indiana, Xavier, and North Carolina. Who would Texas take the place of if they were to win today?
Well,
Again, this is all bracketology and this is all in theory, but yeah.
I was watching your boy too, and I really like him with of course, the Boom Boom Room. There you go.
Mustang.
Rod Slay. Yeah, Slay was doing a great job. They were stumping, and Jimmy Dykes was too. And it makes sense. I mean, right now, North Carolina, as you just mentioned, they have them in the last 4 in.
Yes.
But I will say they have to win today too to stay on that line because they play Wake Forest, in the ACC tournament. I think I haven't looked at the line. I think Carolina would probably be a slight favorite there. Wake is not in either. I mean, they don't have. I know I think they're the 4 seed in the ACC tournament, but that just kind of shows how weak the ACC is because right now it's a 3-bid league. It's Duke, one runaway train, number 1, Clemson and Louisville, but can they get a 4th team? And Wake Forest has been mentioned, but I think UNC is the hotter team and they're the bigger brand. But like Jimmy Dykes said, if you look at the schedule strength and the strength of the SEC, and you compare Texas's resume and their quad 1 wins to North Carolina still only has 1 quad 1 win. So I understand that the Carolina brand is, in basketball, not in football, but in basketball, it's bigger than Texas. But I don't know, man. I think Texas has a compelling case. It'd be interesting to see what the committee does, but both of them just need to win. I'll just say that. I think Texas probably needs 2 more wins to feel good about it. And for Carolina, to me, they've got to beat Duke. I mean, if they got to beat Wake today, but then they would face the Blue Devils very likely in the semifinals. And to me, you got to win that game.
So I pulled up the ESPN bets to see what the line was because you were talking about it and you said North Carolina, Wake Forest. What did you think that it would be right now as far as the line?
I would have guessed maybe 2.5 North Carolina.
But North Carolina is favored by 5.5.
Interesting.
And then flip it around. Texas A&M is favored by that exact same number again's Texas coming up today at 2:30.
Well, and that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
They split during the regular season, Texas and Texas A&M, but I'm not surprised that A&M would be a 5.5 point favorite. Plus, you have to go by Buzz Williams and his success in the SEC tournament. He's had a lot of success coming to the conference tournament. And A&M's already solidly in the field. They're the 5 seed. In the SEC, they're probably a 3 or a 4 right now, I would think, in the NCAA tournament bracket. And what you're doing now, if your team's like that, you're just trying to improve your seed. And you're just trying to make an impression on the committee, get a big win. But, yeah, I would agree with that. If Texas doesn't win today, I think you're headed to the NIT. But here's the deal. You control what you can control. So Carolina, they play Wake. You're just trying to stay alive. And then if you're Texas, there'd be nothing you'd like better to do than to beat your rival A&M and send them home. So, and then, of course, but if you're Tennessee, it would make your path, well, supposedly easier.
Supposedly, yeah.
But you want to say supposedly because you never know in conference tournaments. But again, and with the depth of the SEC, because I'll be honest, 2 months ago, I didn't think Texas would be on the bubble. I thought they were going to be solidly in. I thought they were a good team, but and I started kind of talking them up as being one of the teams that I felt like after that top 9 was going to fall in. And I'll be honest, I thought the SEC would be an 11-bid league. I thought they'd tie the record. I wasn't sure they'd get 12 or 13, but it certainly looks like 12 is a lock, but that 13 is very, very, very likely at this point, and maybe 14. Well,
and you're talking about with Tennessee in their path, and right now, the whole thing that we talked about leading up to it was how hard do the teams play? How, who's going to kind of phone it in? Who doesn't care about losing or winning in this? The moment you get to Nashville, it's like it engulfs you as far as what is going on. And from the moment you start to see everything and you start to walk around the tunnels underneath Bridgestone and everything, it then becomes, screw it, we're here to win. Like the whole mentality changes with the way that people are thinking. Like, I know that right now I am assuming that Auburn would be traveling as well as Tennessee would be traveling today to Bridgestone to get their practices in. It was actually funny because I was looking around and as we were doing the basketball games or the baseball game on Tuesday, Liberty was actually practicing at Spraggins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
they're going to use Spraggins as an offsite. Yeah.
So Auburn, Tennessee, Florida, Bama, all those teams are going to be going up and getting a workout in somewhere at one of the gyms, whether it would be Tennessee State, whether they'll be at Vandy. They may go over to they may go to Trevecca and play, sort of thing. They'll just get a workout in.
There's so many college basketball programs in Nashville. First,
Belmont,
they blow your mind. Like it seems like there's one around every corner.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I mean, they're because you forget about Tennessee State. Oh yeah, and they were in the semifinals of the OVC.
Yep,
they nearly made the finals. Shout out to Canute Wood, Brooks alum, first D1 basketball player out of there. They lost a very tight game to SIU Edwardsville, who went on and won the tournament, won the finals, and beat Southeast Missouri State. So yeah, there's a lot of good programs in Nashville right now, no doubt about that. And they were. As a matter of fact, I mean, you got Lipscomb, you got
Lipscomb,
Belmont, you got Vanderbilt, and they're good too. Trevecca, if they hadn't had a slight downturn at the end of the regular season, probably would have been in the NCAA regionals as well. Drew Blackson there. Andy Blackson's son, he's a point guard. So again, some great basketball in the city of Nashville, and this is going to be a great next 4 days or whatnot in the SEC, because this is when everything really ratchets up. I mean, it's as deep a league as we've ever seen, and that was a great day yesterday. But now the competition is going to be even better.
Now I got to think about who's going to be the team that practices at Belmont. I was just like, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, the Belmont's court's so good. I love that court. It is that whole arena, the vibe from it, every bit of it. And it's kind of weird of where it's placed because it's kind of on Vandy's campus, but kind of not.
Yeah.
They butt up against each other. It's basically landlocked. It's so incredible. But you can get in on Talking Ball as well, as phone lines are open to you at 256-576-4977. We have Coach Petway coming up at 8:00 today. And then at 8:30, Mike Paris is going to be joining us as well to talk a little bit about Jack State and what's going on over at the VBC, which is crazy because that's happening. We've got the SEC tournament. We've got two teams here locally that are in the NCAA tournament, not to mention, like we talked about, Havoc Hockey, UAH, softball, and baseball happening. It's kind of a busy week inside the Tennessee Valley.
Slightly.
Just a little bit on there. So we're going to take a breath, may go down and get us a coffee, and then we'll be right back on Talking Ball at 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Picked up a wreck in Tanner. This one is going to be at Alabama 304 and 31. Already working one on Pratt Avenue at Andrew Jackson. That one came in as an injury type. Traffic building quickly this morning. You be careful on your ride in. RESPECT is coming. Shoal Scholar Dollars is bringing the celebration of the music of Aretha Franklin to UNA on Monday, March 31st. Tickets at shoalscholardollars.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of 12 world-famous theme parks, Orlando, Florida. With flights starting as low as just $49, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Orlando. Make all their dreams come true. Book nonstop to Orlando now at flybreeze.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve. And we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Want to save some money?
I can take money and I can make it into more money.
Just check out our zone deals online at 977ESPN.com. We are 977 ESPN The Zone.
Talking ball, Drew DeArmond, Joe Hunk, John Abraham behind the glass, taking your phone calls at 256-576-4977. Yes, the game with Auburn over at Toyota Field took place on Tuesday night against UT Martin. They won 6-1 in that one over there, as Toyota Field's kind of using it's a double-edged sword. You get to play on an amazing baseball field because of how well that they keep up with Toyota Field. But this was also, I want to say, the first baseball game on that field since they transitioned back from all the softball that took place for the Rocket City Classic and the showcase that was happening here in town. And so they're using that as well as this series this weekend with UAH to kind of get all the bugs out so that when the regular season starts with the Trash Pandas, everything will kind of be good to go. I also just a second ago, because Drew, you and I were talking off the air about the way UAH's schedule is, and it's like, could you have driven or like try to get to Union as well as try to get down to Nova? I pulled up where Nova's campus is because we keep saying Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
To put it in perspective, they are 9 miles away from Hard Rock Stadium. Down in Miami.
That's basically Miami.
Yeah. I mean, they are basically 9 miles away from.
Well, that's why our boy
stadium
you mentioned in the opening. That's why he's not doing the show today. He's been sitting in for Scott, but got a call late last night just because of itineraries.
Yep.
And you're having to leave a little before 8 o'clock to get to the airport to get, how it is with airports. You got to board everything, and then you got to make sure you make your flight. I mean, you have to fly.
Oh, no, that's not a bus ride, man.
No,
that's not a bus ride.
For one, I mean, again, we understand UAH, this is usually bus rides 90+% of the time, but in this situation, you need to fly from Huntsville to over there at Nova, just as you heard Joe say, 9 miles from Hard Rock Stadium. I mean, you in the South Florida.
Oh, you are in Miami. Like, I mean, honestly, at this point in time, if UAH wins on a Saturday, I believe it's Saturday, Sunday, and then Tuesday, I believe is how the tournament would go.
It always goes like that for the men.
Okay.
You play on Saturday, then you play the next day on Sunday. And if you get to the finals by then, if you get to what they consider the Sweet 16, then you take a day off, you get 1 day to prep, and then you play on Tuesday. So in theory, we may not see Moulton until Wednesday. So we'll see. But and we hope we don't. We hope UAH keeps rolling and
I want to
get another shot.
Nova.
I want them to get another shot at Nova for sure. I mean, but you got to beat Tampa first. They played Tampa on Saturday. We've already talked about that at 1:30. That's another thing we had to figure out. Was it 1:30 Central? It's 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central, and Moulton. That will be on WZZN Talk Radio, yes. I believe, because we've got all the SEC tournament action going on our main feed.
What if this was all of us together, kind of like what we were doing, like what we do at the SEC or SEC media days and stuff? We're all down there together.
Yeah.
I just checked, and the Marlins and the Cardinals both play in like West Palm Beach.
Wow.
Which is obviously you go through Boca Raton to get up there.
There
My
go.
thought process is the day that we would have off, I would totally see if I could go to a baseball game.
Yeah, trying to check out some spring training.
Just try to check out a little bit of spring training baseball. Just have a little bit of fun down there. Again, it's Miami, man.
I think it's already been mentioned, Joe, but the SEC football media days this year is in Atlanta, and the All-Star game is in Atlanta.
Okay, last year you guys kind of got to experience this.
Yeah,
Got to experience it
a little bit.
This is the thing for all of us, because look, I know as you're driving, you're waking up this morning, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, crap, I've only got 2 more days of spring break that I've got to deal with. Trust me, I'm in the same boat right now. And you're thinking, what could I potentially do and or miss out on? There's every single year the SEC schedules SEC media days the same week of the All-Star game. So as for a baseball nut like myself, never been able to go to the All-Star game because it was always the same week as the SEC media days. But this thing is in the same city this year.
It's the same city, though.
And it's not like we don't have a ton of connections over in Atlanta with this. Like, I understand last year with you guys being in Dallas, Texas Rangers don't really have the connections, all of that. But this is Atlanta now. This is where we have got so many connections. And literally, Moulton used to work for the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
Like, come on. This is the perfect storm.
Steve and I already pulled this off once before, like when because there was a time when the SEC media days was in Atlanta at the College Football Hall of Fame, and it was not during the All-Star game week.
Yep.
And the All-Star break had not quite happened yet. And Moulton and we got hooked up, and we went and watched the Braves beat the Diamondbacks.
Yes.
So there you go. He's like, hey man, you want to hit the Braves game up, after we get to town? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. I haven't been to a Braves game in a while. So we went and watched the Braves, and this was several years ago, 5-6 years ago, but it was neat. It was neat to go watch the Braves. And matter of fact, I believe if I want to, it was my first time going to Truist, because I had not been to the Truist yet since they moved. And so it was my first experience. So yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of connections. It would be neat to see an All-Star game. I mean, I've seen a Southern League All-Star game back in my youth when Joe Davis was first opened, and Huntsville got to host the Southern League All-Star game. Certainly seen that from a Double-A perspective, but haven't ever seen a Major League All-Star game, and so that would be kind of cool.
Well, I would honestly, like, if I had to pick and choose, which Steve, I know you're listening right now, and I'm not picking or choosing. I would love to do both. I would probably pick the home run derby over the All-Star game. Like, I may do that just because I would love to see if somebody could send one into the behind the chop house and into the area where that big baseball is floating and on it inside of the battery. I'd love to kind of see that. But phone lines are open to you, 256-576-4977. Coming up later on today, right after us here this morning, John and I are going to have the Blitz coming up at 9. And then at 11:45, you will have the first or the second round of the SEC tournament from Nashville as that gets going. But we got a few minutes before we got to get to break, so let's go back to those phone lines. Brandon, welcome in to Talking Ball, man. How's it going?
What's up?
Well, I was trying to figure out how big of a Stacey Abrams pinata I could build for the All-Star game.
Okay.
Did you say
we just have like a line of them. Yeah. It cost us the last one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was her.
Oh.
Hopefully.
Okay.
So I don't know if they might want to give out free bats that day in the parking lot. Make a big spectacle of it.
So are you going to try to go to the All-Star game, Brandon?
I am working on it at the moment. So
gotcha.
I told them it's going to probably be a fight between my wife and my son. I think I can get 2 tickets, but I don't know if I can get 3 or 4.
Oh, this thing's going to be extremely expensive.
Well, we even, because it was, trust me, when we went to Arlington last year, of course we checked in the media credentials. Those were hard to get, but we also checked in the tickets for even the home run derby and or the All-Star.
No, that's
they're very expensive.
Yeah, you're talking thousands of dollars.
Yeah, even for the home run
And
derby.
and then normally the seats that are normally the cheap ones, which is the one in the outfield, those are the expensive ones because that's where everybody wants to be to try to catch the home runs.
Hey, remember we got to take a tour of the stadium,
Yeah, you
but
did.
yeah, we had a chance to do that, but no, we didn't get a chance to go to the home run derby or the All-Star game.
Well, speaking of baseball, so if what I'm seeing is correct, next year the Athletics will play in a 10,624 seat park at Cedar Heath Park in Sacramento.
Yeah,
and the
that's this
Rays
season.
will play in that's this season, okay?
Yeah, this
season.
The Rays are playing in an 11,000 seat George Steinbrenner Field. So did we ever think there'd be a day where MLB teams would be playing in parks that seat less than Coleman Coliseum?
Well, I will say, it's sad to think about with those two fan bases, but not surprised because the Rays, even when they're good, and they have been good enough to go to the World Series and win divisions, we're talking playoffs here, guys, and you could walk up and buy a ticket. I'm talking about regular price, just go up and buy a ticket at the window for a playoff game. And I'm talking about from a Rays perspective. And I think we all know Oakland has always struggled to draw fans. I mean, when they were with the Huntsville Stars, I was an A's fan back then because, again, the way they built their team, they weren't a big market team. They had to draft and develop. So a lot of those cats came through Huntsville. But as you saw, there was only a point to where they could keep everybody, and then they would have to, much like the Florida Marlins, have a fire sale or whatnot. And while they did draw in the late 80s and early 90s, for the most part, the A's have always struggled to draw people in Oakland.
And I think I've always kind of had a soft spot for the A's just because of the connection with that. And I actually wanted to look something up while you were talking to Brandon about it, because the deal with Las Vegas with the A's is not 100% finished. It is a 98% type deal. Like the last major hurdle that they had to clear was the Las Vegas Stadium Authority, and they had to approve the lease, which they did in the beginning of December of last year, of the 2024. And so they still have to work out a few things as far as a development agreement and all that. But the A's are going to be having these patches on their arms that they're going to be wearing this year that says Las Vegas A's. The stadium is supposed to open in 2028. That's for the A's. We have zero clue as what's going on with Tampa, because the deal that was initially scheduled there, Brandon, that was supposed to be for a stadium in Ybor City. I believe that has been shelved. The city and the county have said that they do not want to put the money into Tropicana to refurbish that after the hurricane.
They don't sound like they want to.
No,
they have any interest.
And so the Rays are kind of SOL right now.
Would it be a time for the people in Nashville to come out and say, "Hey, just go ahead and bring the Rays to Nashville"?
There's a reason why. There's a reason why. If you go on MLB's website and you go on it, you see the hats that the Nashville Stars just debuted a couple of weeks ago, and how they're kind of saying, "Hey, potential MLB expansion city debuts uniforms of hats," which the hats look sweet, by the way. I do really want one. It's kind of weird because the back of it obviously doesn't have the Major League Baseball logo on it. It has it has Nashville Stars on the back, but it's one in which the fight there is continuing. And honestly, Nashville makes the most sense if the Rays eventually do relocate. But I'm looking up right now to see what the latest is on that baseball stadium deal, because the Tropicana part of this is absolutely just, it is crazy what they're thinking of. And matter of fact, 2 days ago, there's an article that came out. And I'm just reading the headline right now. ABC Action News is saying that MLB and other owners are pressuring Rays owner to sell the team. So if so if they sell the team, then where most likely the owners, people that are going to try to put together a bid, where that would be, and that would be in Nashville.
Oh, if it's sold, it's almost as surely going to be relocated.
What does Toyota Field seat?
I would probably say 8,000 if I'm just guessing off the top of my head.
Okay.
Well, for here in Huntsville, I want to say, I was thinking more 65 to 7.
It's 7,000. I just looked it up. 7,000 people is what it holds.
Yeah.
Well, have a little training camp there, and then if I'm Birmingham, hey, let's get some games down here at Rickwood. Let's get the team in Nashville to play the Braves in Rickwood and have a little special and do some of that.
Well, I would if I'm Tampa, and this is a story that just came out a couple of days ago, and obviously if the Rays move to Nashville, then that kind of changes where a lot of people's maybe eventually their allegiance lies with the Rays, because I'm telling you, the minor league organization for the Rays is hands down the best minor league organization throughout sports.
And
it is amazing.
And they have to be because of the way their team has to be built.
Yep. And so with this, I would say that what you could do, because it's only used a small bit, is you could honestly think about the Rays setting up shop in Birmingham at the Hoover Met, because it's literally only used for high school football and the SEC tournament. That's it.
Well, can we bring them to Nashville and call them the Nashville Aura Diggers?
No, we're not using Aura Diggers, because we're still trying to figure out 100% what an Aura Digger is, which I believe is a donkey, but I'm not 100% sure.
That could always be the Nashville burritos or whatever John called them yesterday.
Did you hear that, Drew?
I didn't hear that.
Smart. That's really good.
Man.
No, that was really good. No. It may be like the second most racist thing that's ever been said in 97.7. It may have been.
Goodness.
So, but no, Brandon, we appreciate it. What's up, bro?
But we were talking about that last night. I got a couple friends in Nashville, and they were just having a fit, wanting to know why nobody is openly, like, with their mouth going after the Rays.
No, well, they are.
Like they're prime for the taking, and everybody's just sitting on their hands being quiet. So they're wondering,
it's because
telling people not to do it out loud, or what?
Well, there's a lot of hurdles with it. You've got because one, the owner for the Rays has either got to decide to relocate and or sell the team.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got to be the group that actually purchases it, which, trust me, the Nashville Stars group, their investment group, has a ton of people that have invested money into this. That's kind of like sitting there. Now, they're probably only about a fourth of the way of what you would need to actually purchase the team. But then you also have the idea of, with Tampa, if you move to Nashville, you've also got to figure out the relocation of them as correspondent with also the Nashville Sounds, because you can't have a minor league team and a major league team within a certain radius of each other. So it's not like the Rays and the Sounds could share First Horizon Park for a period of time, because of, unless Major League Baseball and which is now owns MILB, could also make that agreement and allow it to happen. So then you also got to come down to, where's the stadium going to be built?
That's the
which
thing.
There is a lock of land that is directly beside where the new football stadium is going to be, that has basically been, the man that owns that land has been gung-ho on keeping his shrapnel yard or whatever it is for the entire time. But apparently there's a conversation about how he might be willing to sell it at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's so complicated. It's about like being married.
See, that's exactly the reason why there's a lot of hurdles.
Yeah, no doubt. But Nashville wants the team.
So where does Rick Pitino coach next year? Or Diggers out?
He's coaching at St. John's, man. He ain't leaving.
You know his bio. I'll tell you his bio when we come back. 256-576-4977. We continue on Talking Ball next. 97.7 ESPN The Zone at WZZN TV.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperature climbing into the low and mid-70s. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. Very small chance that any of those thunderstorms become severe. Otherwise, we're just going to be talking about a little bit of noise across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the mid-50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. We should be dry during this time period. A mostly cloudy sky Friday afternoon. Once again, temperatures climbing into the mid-70s. Showers and thunderstorms are going to build into the Tennessee Valley Friday night, early into Saturday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a new wreck on 72 eastbound at Jeff Road. May have some delay there. It came in, though, as a no injury. Had an injury type, Pratt and Andrew Jackson. They're showing it as being clear now. Had one in Tanner, Limestone County, 31 and 304. And the traffic signal, Pulaski Pike and Monroe Road, is malfunctioning. With more than 30 years experience, D&L Refrigeration can save you money on those heating and air conditioning repairs. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tuscaloosa, we live by the blue-collar basketball motto. Stepping back, the three, hard work. 2-on-1, driving, stepping through, top shot, got it to go. Teamwork. Playing the song for the champions of the Southeastern Conference. Join us for every game right here on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
Online at 977ESPN.com.
Stream them online.
Call in.
It's an important job, and it's an fighting organization.
Tweet in and join in. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, finishing up what we were talking about during that last segment, March 31st is apparently the deadline that Major League Baseball and the Tampa Bay Rays have set to come up with a new deal with St. Pete and or Tampa for a brand new stadium that would keep the Rays in Tampa. So that, again, is like 20 or 18 days from right now is when that is supposed to be up. Major League Baseball apparently is pressuring the potential, Stuart Sternberg, who is the owner of the Rays, to potentially sell the team. Major League Baseball would like, according to this article in The Athletic, they would like for the team to stay in Florida, potentially move to Orlando, but obviously, if not, then so be it. Which Orlando, massive tourist community.
It is, but
it's one of those things that kind of like Vegas, where it's more touristy than it is local.
Well, I mean, for years they've only had one major, sports franchise, the Orlando Magic, and again, it's not considered a top level organization. I know they're on a good turn right now, but to be honest with you, since the days of Shaq and Penny, and when the Grant Hill thing blew up in their faces, and they tried to get Tim Duncan, they've really not been great. I mean, now, with
they had the one span like in the late 2000s, like 0809, when Howard was on the team that made it to the NBA Finals.
They got Tracy McGrady and things of that nature, and then right now they got Paolo Banchero, and they're pretty good, but Orlando, I just don't see that working long term either. I would rather the team move to Nashville and then Now, the other interesting part is would it be a National League team or an American League team? Yeah, with Nashville.
See,
Even though now there's
always-
universal rules. I mean, we know
Yes.
the DH is universal, but still.
And I've always had this theory about with the Rays, if they were to move to Nashville, then what you should do is you should make them a National League team, put them in the division with the Braves,
Right.
the Marlins, and first off,
Natural rivalries.
natural rivalry between those two teams, and I would also make it a division with Cincinnati as well, and kind of change it so because all four of those teams are kind of closest. Because for the Atlanta Braves right now, their closest MLB team to them is Cincinnati and Houston. Like those are the two closest teams to them. So there should be some changes that are going with it. I think that I think the AL East, you should, if they bring back the Montreal Expos, then you should put the Expos in the AL East, because then you would have Expos, Toronto, Boston, Baltimore, and New York all around each other. So it would
Yes,
make
I hadn't been paying attention. So the Expo, that's a thing. They might bring back the Expos.
the thought is that Montreal and Nashville are the two leading teams when it comes to an expansion team, if that were to take place. But before you can even talk about that, you've got to figure out the deal with the A's, and it has to be finalized. And then you also got to figure out what's going on with Tampa, because those cities that are being talked about could also be included in cities for the teams to move to.
Well, I mean, if you're going to, and I guess I'll make the people in Nashville mad, but if they're thinking about putting a team in Montreal again, why not just relocate the friggin' Rays to Montreal? That'd be a little whack.
Well, and there was a deal that was
mean?
talked about for a long period of time because Montreal was willing to build a Major League Baseball stadium, which is the reason why the Expos left and moved to Washington in the first place, because the city didn't want to do that.
They did not want to do
And
that. That's correct.
Sternberg was actually considering splitting the home games.
I remember that.
40 home games in Montreal,
Whoa.
40 home games in Tampa, and then that deal eventually fell
I
through.
remember. I was like, wow, that'd be so
Right.
crazy.
It would be. So that's kind of the deal with that. Also, the Rick Pitino, Brandon asked the question about where's he going to be coaching next year. His buyout is only $750,000.
Yeah, I understand that, but he already basically said he wasn't going to Indiana. Okay, and Indiana's opening up. That's a big time job still. I consider it, with its tradition. It's 3 national championships. We know NC State has 3 national titles, but from a very respected basketball mind that listens to this show, and he sent me a word the other day. He thinks Will Wade is headed to NC State. That's going to be the front runner there. Now we'll see. And we've had Bucky McMillan on the show, but both when he was at Mountain Brook and when he was at Samford. And, Samford had a really good year this year in the regular season, went out, early against a really good Furman team in the SoCon tournament. I know they were disappointed in that, but if Chris Beard goes to Indiana, and Chris Beard, of course, is the head coach at Ole Miss, they play Arkansas at noon today, and you'll hear that game here on 97.7 The Zone. Could Bucky McMillan be in the mix for Ole Miss? That would be very, very interesting. So we'll have to see. Whoa, that scared me a little bit. That scared me a little bit, Johnny Boy.
John did a good job.
I don't know. All of a sudden, and I didn't touch it, so I was like, but the light starts quaking, and I'm like, yo. I mean, to quote John Abraham, I was like, uh-oh.
Would be really awesome right now is if we found out, like in a couple of hours, that the Richter scale somewhere in Alabama picked up a small earthquake, and that was the reason why that fell off the ledge.
I don't know, like what the.
Oh, while we try to
didn't
fix the
pound
light
on anything. I mean,
no. Out of all the times that Drew doesn't pound on a table, this is when the light begins to move.
Yeah.
All right. When we come back, also we have a question about UAH basketball. We'll get to that as we wrap up the first hour. We have Coach Petway coming up at 8:00 here on Talkin' Ball as we continue 97.7 ESPN The Zone, as well as WCCN TV.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Had one injury wreck this morning, Brad and Andrew Jackson. It should be clear. 72 eastbound at Jeff Road may still be trying to clear. And we had one in Tanner, Limestone County, 31 and 304 that should be about ready to wrap up. Pulaski Pike and Monroe Road, they've been having problems with the traffic signal. We've had reports of backup there through the morning. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. You can make it safer for them. Slow down or move over. It's the law. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've got a much bigger problem with your foundation. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They can honestly assess your situation and create a plan to stabilize your foundation. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and I'm here to tell you it's truck month. No payments for 90 days on 24 and 25 models of F-150, Ranger, Maverick, Super Duty, and Lightning. We've got over 220 F-150s for you to choose from with generous finance rates and the best deals of the year on America's best-selling truck for 48 years in a row. Great deals on Bronco, Bronco Sport, Expedition, and Explorer 2. Come check those out. But right now at Woody Anderson Ford, you can drive a 2024 F-150 XLT Hybrid for as little as $339 a month. $339 for an F-150. That's a 36-month lease with $64.48 due at signing, zero security deposit, just tax, tag, title, and your good credit. This offer ends $331.25. Call us at 539-9441 for complete details. Over 220 F-150s and nearly 50 Rangers and Maverick pickups to choose from, all with great sales incentives and zero payments for 90 days. Woody Anderson Ford, we hope to see you soon.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com.
Drew, how good are you at bracketology when it comes to knowing like Division II bracketology?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm nearly as good at Division II as I am Division I. I don't. I have to admit. I mean, I certainly follow UAH closely. We're the home of the Chargers, and I keep up with both the men and the women and how they're doing and if they're going to qualify for the NCAA regionals. And certainly the men have been a fixture for 25 plus years now, going on 30. And the women are having a renaissance under Alan Sharp, but I'm not as good.
Reason I asked is because on X a few seconds ago, we got asked the question from Chris about if UAH would play CSU in the Elite Eight, where would that game be played at? The reason I ask is CSU, he's talking about Columbus State.
Yeah, right.
Down in Columbus, Georgia, right across the Alabama state line. I would assume that because Columbus State is a 1 seed and UAH is a 2 seed, that would happen. And would that happen at Columbus State, or would they go ahead and move?
The Elite Eight is in one spot. The Elite Eight, just like the South Regional where UAH is, the Elite Eight college basketball, it's always in one spot. And then it's a little bit different. You got to win. You're down there for close to a week, but you got to win 3 games. You got to win. You're down there when you're in the Elite Eight. You're in the national quarterfinals. Then it goes the national to the Final Four, and then they always play the national championship game. And it's on CBS Sports.
So it is going to be. So the Elite Eight, the Final Four, and the national championship is going to
all
be
in one spot
in Evansville, Indiana, the Ford Center, which is where the Evansville SPHL team plays.
Then there you go. More hockey.
So trust me, Huntsville knows how to get to
And I've
Evansville.
heard that's a beautiful arena.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
But see, it's a familiar place. If UAH gets to Evansville, we've made that drive before. We know how to get there.
That's what I mean. I did know that the Elite Eight in Division II, I want to say when Lenny Acuff, he made a couple of trips. It may have been in Louisville. But, yeah, it's always in one spot.
Okay.
It's not one of those things where you go for one spot for the Elite Eight, then the Final Four. No, it's in one place.
All right, see, so there's your answer, Chris. We appreciate it. 256-576-4977. We'll get you in just a bit, but when we come back, let's talk a little bit about Kennesaw State. Coach Petway is going to be joining us on Talking Ball.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
Auburn and Alabama open up tomorrow in the Southeastern Conference quarterfinals at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. The Tigers will open up with either Arkansas or Ole Miss. Those two teams meet in a second-round matchup today. Rebels laying 3.5. Alabama will open up with either Oklahoma or Kentucky. Oklahoma advanced with a win yesterday over Georgia, an upset victory. Kentucky laying 6.5 against the Sooners today in the second round. Jacksonville State as a 7.5-point favorite, beat FIU 65-56 in the Conference USA quarterfinals in Huntsville, Alabama yesterday. The Gamecocks will play in the semifinals Friday. For more, go to VSIN.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Scott is up in Indiana.
Yes.
Drew is sitting directly beside me. I am Joe Hunk, filling in today and tomorrow as Steve Moulton, who was filling in for Scott Tyson, is on his way to the airport with UAH to head down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the UAH basketball.
Basically Miami.
Yeah, basically these moves going to Miami. There's an airport right beside Nova. I'm assuming that's where they're flying into, but it is Nova Southeastern. You'll be able to listen to the games that UAH will be playing coming up this weekend over on the Charger Zone. So make sure that you download that 97.7 ESPN The Zone app as we get ready for a lot of action that is happening not only in Tennessee Valley, but also in Birmingham, because the Huntsville Havoc are on the road tonight and tomorrow down in Birmingham, taking on the Birmingham Bulls, as you're going to be able to hear that game on the Havoc Zone at 7 o'clock when the puck drops. John Abraham and myself are going to be on the broadcast. And the reason why they are going to be on the road this weekend is because the ice at the VBC has been pulled out. There's none. It'd be roller hockey if they're playing right now, but then they can't even do that because there's some basketball court that is on the floor right now over at Probst Arena. And coming up at 5:30 tonight, that is going to be the first game of the day when New Mexico State and Kennesaw State get going in the CUSA quarterfinals.
Yeah, and if anybody knows that you follow basketball in our state, the Kennesaw State Owls are being coached by someone that is one of our favorite sons in the state of Alabama. In 2000, he led his Wilcox Central high school squad to a state championship. Then he went on to be a walk-on, but that quickly changed to a scholarship player at the University of Alabama. made one of the biggest shots in Crimson Tide history to win the 2002 regular season SEC championship, and then went on to lead Alabama to an Elite Eight berth, including a huge shot against Southern Illinois in the first round to kind of start that run for the Crimson Tide to their first Elite Eight in history. And then, of course, has been a part of Alabama basketball as an assistant on 2 occasions at Jack State, and now is getting a head coaching opportunity. He's in year 2. He's already got his team 18-13. They're in the 4-5 game. They're the 4 seed. They'll be playing tonight at 5:30 over at the Probst Arena. Can't wait to see them. Can't wait to see his team, because we've been waiting for this opportunity for this young coach to get a chance to continue to climb up the ladder. And, of course, we're talking about the one and only Antoine Petway. Got to know him, and this is, again, he's returning to the Rocket City, his 1 year of professional basketball. That's where I got a chance to get to know him personally. He played for the Huntsville Flight and then started his coaching journey, which has now reached the Atlanta area and Kennesaw State. And Antoine Petway has taken some time to join us this morning and talk some Owls basketball. Coach, great to have you on back in Huntsville. You're with Drew and Joe Hunk here. How you doing this morning, Coach?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be back. Happy to be back in the state of Alabama. But now, Huntsville's always been good. So we've had some really good players come play for Alabama from Huntsville, man. So it's great to be back, man. You think of John Pettis, you think of Trevor Lacey, you think of Levi Randolph, and then you think of probably most Kyra Lewis. You know, so like this always been a great area for me as far as recruiting. Just happy to be back and see family and friends in Huntsville.
Yeah, no question, Coach. And you've got some you're still recruiting the state of Alabama at Kennesaw State. You still got some Alabama flavor on your roster too.
Oh yeah, man. We got Ronji Gordon from Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
You got RJ Johnson from right here in Huntsville, and then you have Adrian Woodley from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Bryan High School. So it's always this. We got a lot of roots in this state, man. So we always gonna try to come back and get some quality players out of this state.
Well, and Coach, this is your, you played back at the VBC back when it was in 04 and 05 with the Flight. I was working the concession stand. Drew was working for the team. We've all kind of went to various places through that period of time, but the arena itself has changed just a little bit as well. What do you think about when you come back and look at where you were playing in 04 and 05 compared to the way it looks now?
First off, I hope they threw all the film away. I told my guys I averaged 22 for the game. So, I don't want them to go back on there and be able to see that and check that and know that I lied to them. But no, the building, the building brought back a lot of memories. Just, we were going around the park. I remember, when I played there, going into that parking deck before games, and I just remember going down Memorial Parkway. Like, it brought back a lot of memories. Definitely the building has changed some. But man, it's still like it was a joy. And a quick note, I think Levi Randolph was my ball boy. Yeah, so that kind of we always would go back to that. When I was recruiting him, he was my ball boy when I played for the Flight, man. But a lot of great memories, man. I had some great teammates, some of which we still keep up with each other to this day.
Yeah,
there was some great playing of basketball, playing in the G League.
Yeah, we even had one of his former teammates at Alabama, Rod Grizzard. Rod hit me up one time on his jersey. I have no idea where it is. He's, and I actually still have some game shorts though. I still do.
The funny thing, a couple of Kennesaw fans was they were online asking like, we got to get a Huntsville Flight Petway jersey. I'm like, man, I kept it for a couple of years, and then I gave it to some of my younger family members, and they wore it. They wore them on. I couldn't find that jersey if I wanted to today.
I was about to say, Coach, it's different back in 04 and 05. I don't think we sold any of those Huntsville Flight jerseys the way that we do the Havoc jerseys today.
Yeah. No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, tell us, Coach, give us an update on this group. This is your second year. Certainly you've made progress. You're 18-13. This is a really good mid-major league. The problem, though, is it's a one-bid league. So you have to be playing well. Coming into the conference tournament, you have to be healthy. Give us the status now of the Kennesaw State Owls going into the matchup tonight.
Well, Drew, man, I absolutely love this group that I have, man. We got a group of everyday dudes, group that every single day they show up to practice, they put their hard hat on, and they go to work. And I identify with that. They fight and they believe. We're one of the youngest teams in this league, and I think we're the 8th or 9th best conference in college basketball. So every night you facing a tough opponent full of older guys that are really well coached groups. But my dudes have fought and they believed all year. And we finished the year on a strong note. We won at Liberty, our first ever court win in the history of the program. And then we followed that up and won at Jacksonville State for the final game of the regular season. We finished 4th in the league. And so we got a lot of positive momentum going into the tournament. But guys, man, I wouldn't trade one guy on my team for anybody. Like, I love this group. We fight, we believe, and we're together. When you see us play, you can see it, man. They love each other. We talked about the guy that I replaced when he went to South Florida.
That's right.
Coach Amir. His deal was love wins. And that's kind of been our rallying cry this year as well. Every time you get down that court, you get a chance to show the world how much you love each other, how much you have your brothers back.
Well,
so that's kind of been what we wanted to display all year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, and one thing is I know everybody loves shooting the ball, but this team defensively, the way that you guys have kind of turned around and where you went to arguably, like, look, you were one of the worst teams in college basketball when it came to like field goal percentage, 3-point field goal percentage. Heck, we used a lot of that when we're talking about who could win up in Nashville this weekend. But for you and getting into this program, I know everybody wants to shoot, but how did you get them to kind of buckle down on defense?
It's want to. It literally want to. That was one of the biggest points of emphasis going into this year. I didn't like where our defense and our rebounders were last season. And so we targeted that in recruiting. And then just from day one, we talked about our standard. Like, we had to create a standard that we were going to hold each other accountable to, not the expectation. And these guys have bought into that. I want to say we're a top 3 defensive team in our league. And on offense, we're a top 4 or 5 team as well. But we led the league in rebound. And so we wanted that to be a staple of our program, that we defend and we rebound. And then so that was a point of emphasis from day one. And these guys, to their credit, they bought into it.
And then, Coach, talk about this unbelievable freshman. You just mentioned him from Tuscaloosa in your backyard. I'm sure you've known him since he was very young. Adrian Woolley, what a year he's had. One of the best, not just in Conference USA, where he's a freshman of the year, but in the country. I mean, 18.5 points per game, shooting 45% from 3. This guy's been unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. It's been a bunch of firsts, man. He's a finalist for National Freshman of the Year. But if you're around this young man, Drew, like, it doesn't take long for you to see why. He's a guy, man, he's mature beyond his years. He works his tail off. Like, that's the other thing about this group, man. Like, and I got that from, like, NATO, and I'll be remiss not to say what he's doing with the University of Alabama program, man, is unheard. Like, that what him and that staff and what he's done to these guys there, man, it's been so spectacular. And I just enjoy watching it. I'm gonna watch him in Nashville while we're playing. Like, that's my guy. He is still, like, when you working for him, those guys up there, man, like everybody like wonder why he left them play with so much freedom and their style is so exciting and they play with so much confidence. They work. They put the work in. And I'm talking about they work in practice, but they work outside of practice on their games, and he demands that work ethic. And so that's something I wanted to carry over to Kennesaw State. And these guys work. Like Adrian Woolley, he's in that gym all the time. I'm just telling you, he's in that gym all the time. But Simeon Carter, Braden Lou, Ron, like, these guys, like, that was something I really want out to be another staple of our program, work ethic. And I mean, work outside of practice. And these guys live in the gym. Adrian Woolley's being successful because of the work he's put in. He plays with confidence in the game because the work he put in when nobody's watching. And that's something I kind of carried from Alabama, man, just that everyday work ethic. You know what I mean? You got to live in that gym when nobody in the stands. So when they get in the stands, you playing with confidence. You know these shots going to fall. He's a testament of that. That kid, AD, he's big time.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, you were talking about want to, and then you've also mentioned Braden Lou, and I was doing the math while you were talking a few seconds ago, and between Lou, Andre, and I think it's Gordon, those 3 guys have 85 blocks between the 3 of them.
Let's go.
I mean, look, I know everybody will, again, we're talking defense on this. 85 blocks? How do you, like, is that something you can teach? Like, how does that happen?
No, like that's just want to again. Like Like we all about like stance, vision, talking on defense, and having your brothers back. And, you know, these guys are coming over, man, helping their brothers out. And we like to say, you know, the guy that's guarding the ball, my mindset, I'm not getting beat. But the 4 guys off the ball, your mindset need to be, my brother's about to get beat, and I gotta have his back. And those 3 guys, man, they protect the rim. And I'm just my guy Ronja Gordon, like the other 2 that they pretty athletic. Ronja Gordon, it's just hard and hustle with him because, man, he ain't that athletic. I tell him all the time. I don't know how you get all these doggone block shots, man. But, man, he is a Ronja Gordon, Montgomery Alabama junkyard dog. Been a winner everywhere he's been. Won in high school. Then he won when he got the UAB with AK. And all he's done here is win as well, man. So I'm telling you, Drew, you guys, I'm blessed to have the group I have. Like, I absolutely love this crew, man. I'm blessed to be their head coach.
Well, and we know now you're gonna. It's interesting. You played them twice during the regular season. You're going to be playing New Mexico State, and it's interesting. You split with them, each of you winning on your the other team's home floor. This will be a neutral floor situation, a third meeting. But a lot of times you've been through it, Coach. You've been through it. You worked for you played for Mark Godfrey. You worked for Avery Johnson, Nate Oates. You've worked for different guys at the University of Alabama, and Anthony Grant as well. As you did. You worked for 3 different guys that had different philosophies. You talked about Nate Oates and his influence, but teams evolve and change. How has your team evolved going into this third meeting with New Mexico State, where everything's on the line tonight, trying to advance to the semifinals of the Conference USA tournament?
Yeah, first and foremost, they're one of the best. They are the best defensive team according to the numbers in our league. They're super physical. Coach Hooten does a tremendous job coaching the team. He's one of the like this league is a really good league because of his talent, but it's also a really damn good league because of the coaching. And like he's one of the best coaches in the league. When you watch his team play, we talk about defending and rebounding, like that's paramount for them. And so like he does a tremendous job with them. We beat them in La Cruces. They came and got us on senior night, and they left a bad taste in our mouth. But brand new season right now. Everybody's 0-0. You got to go out and give it everything you got. But we have to be who we are. We got to defend, we got to rebound, and we got to take care of the ball. They are a team that they capitalize off your turnover, live ball turnovers to be specific. So we got to make sure we're taking care of the ball. But our group has grown. When you're dealing with freshmen, like right now, I don't have any more freshmen. These dudes have played more minutes than the average any freshman in the country down there. So I tell my guys, bring Lou, AD, Jameer, you guys are sophomores now. You know what I mean? Like, you played enough minutes and you went through your bumps in non-con and through the conference to now, like, you're sophomores. So we've grown, man. I think we hitting our stride right at the right time. We playing our best basketball when our best basketball is needed. But we got a tough task ahead of us today. It's probably the premier matchup in the first round. 5, we finished 4th, they finished 5th. And we're looking forward to it. But it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a brawl. And you got to invite that. You got to run through it and not run from it. So we know where we got ahead of us. We know how they play. And here, we got to match it and we got to surpass it.
Well, and finally, Coach, give us 2 or 3 keys to winning the third meeting and winning 2 out of 3 and advancing. That's the biggest thing. In this time of year, survive and advance, 5:30 tonight against New Mexico State. What's going to be the keys for the Kennesaw State Owls to get this win tonight?
It doesn't change for us in my group. We got to defend. We got to be nasty on defense. We got to control the glass. We got to rebound, and we got to take care of that doggone ball. We have to take care of the ball, not turnover, and specifically live ball turnover. We got to limit our live ball turnover. So 3 deals, 3 things: defend at a high level, rebound at a high level, and take care of the basketball. If we're able to do that, we're going to be a hard out for anybody. We're going to be in every game.
There's no question. We expect you to be in that game tonight, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing the Kennesaw State Owls advance to that Friday semifinal in the Conference USA tournament. Coach, we know you have a very busy schedule. Love you, man. Known you for a long time. Continued success, brother. And we want to see you to win tonight, and we appreciate the time talking ball with us this morning.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. Go out. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, That's Coach. Antoine Petway. I mean, this is a bootstrap guy, Joe. He worked his way up. He was an undersized guard at Wilcox Central, won the state championship, went to Alabama. You remember the red shoes.
Yep.
And very quickly earned a scholarship from Mark Gottfried, became a starter by the end of his career, was a clutch guy. I always had the clutch gene. Made that winning shot in 2002, which is a Daniel Moore painting that I own. And then we talk about in 2003, people forget about that. Alabama was in a dogfight with Southern Illinois in the first round of the NCAA tournament that year. He makes a runner with about 4 seconds left to put Alabama up 1. Shot at the buzzer, no good. We know Alabama went to the round of 32. They upset Stanford. And here's an interesting story. Huntsville flight. This is I was with them from their inception. I'm watching it. We're trying to watch it before our game in the locker room. Everybody's around the TV. I had to do game prep, get the floor ready. So and besides, my nerves were shot. I just couldn't. I had to leave, and I'm filling the ice buckets and everything. And Scott Faust, the head trainer, who is now with the head trainer of the Milwaukee Bucks, I hear a lot of screaming in the locker room. Ah! And he's sticking his head out. Hey man, Alabama's coming back, because Alabama was down at the time, double figures. I thought, well, good run, season's probably over. I keep hearing, wow, another. And this guy just keeps sticking his head up. Man, you got to come. I'm like, I'm not coming in there, man. I'm not putting myself through it. I was like, I'm going to jinx it. And we were in the middle of the first quarter, and I finally ran back into the locker room to see. I think there was 2 minutes to go. I'm going to make myself watch the last 2 minutes. And they were able to hold on and beat Stanford. We know what happened after that. They beat the defending national champion Syracuse in the Sweet 16 to get to the Elite Eight. And then, unfortunately, ran into that buzzsaw known as UConn, who went on to win the national championship under Jim Calhoun that year.
No, it was an amazing run, and Petway's a part of that.
I should say.
And he's going to be on the court back at the VBC tonight. Is going to be a 5:30 tip over at Probst Arena.
It'll be great to see.
It's going to be awesome for him to be there. The CUSA tournament continues there. We come back. We get back into your phone calls. We've got a couple more things coming up here in just a little bit involving the CUSA tournament. We'll be talking to you about as well as we continue on Talking Ball at 97.7 ESPN The Zone, as well as WZZN TV.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like we're back to a clean slate accident-wise. Everything from earlier should be clear now. Still may have some traffic signal problems, though. Pulaski Pike and Monroe Road. They've had a pretty good backup there at times this morning. RESPECT is coming. Shoal Scholar Dollars is bringing the celebration of the music of Aretha Franklin to UNA on Monday, March 31st. Tickets at shoalscholardollars.com. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
We aren't a winning school. We are a championship school, and we make legends. Join the Crimson Tide as they look to continue to rise to the top of the NCAA basketball mountain on your home for Alabama basketball.
Listen to Alabama basketball all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
Listen to UAH Charger basketball all season long.
So when we came out of the timeout, Coach Hedge had initially called a man play, and they ended up faking a zone. So the whole bench was yelling zone, zone, zone. So we tried to switch the play last second. We ended up getting confused. So Tommy swung it to me, and I initially was like, all right, I'm going to try and get to the rim right here. We're only down 2. We don't need a 3. And he flipped his hips real hard, and I tossed it back. And as soon as I let it go, I knew it was in.
Campbell to plug it in. 81-79 Union. Inbounds it goes. Dribbling it out from Tommy Murr. Swings it over to Campbell. Campbell on the wing for the lead. Oh, my God! Blake Campbell! It's a 3 into the front court for the win. No good. No good. No good. Blake Campbell with some onions from Jackson, Tennessee.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. We are your home for March Madness.
In the corner, James, right corner 3, got it. Oh, it's a Tennessee blitz. The Volunteers dominating the Creighton Blue Jays in the second half.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, coming up in just a few minutes, Mike Paris is going to join us, the voice of Jacksonville State basketball. As he's going to talk about Jack State as they continue their path in the CUSA tournament as well. They're going to be playing tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. So he's got the day off. So he's going to be joining us here in just a few moments. But let's go back to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. B. Rich, welcome in, Talkin' Ball, man. How's it going?
What's up, fellas? Man, that was a great interview with Petway.
Love that dude.
I can see why he recruits so well. His energy is just amazing. I missed the beginning of it. Did he happen to say, and I haven't been able to keep up much, is RJ contributing? Is he redshirting? What kind of role does he have on this year's team?
He's not listed on the roster right now, so I'm wondering if there's a red shirt going on, B. Rich, because trust me, I was checking this.
Yeah, we actually talked about this during the break.
We did,
yeah.
And I knew Woolley was from Paul Bryant High School in Tuscaloosa, so I was going to let him talk about Woolley and Ronji Gordon. He's from Montgomery. He played at Jeff Davis and Sidney Lanier. I remember when he went to UAB, and RJ had a pretty good freshman year last year, but I started looking on the roster and he's not listed, so he may be redshirt.
Yeah, he hasn't played a game this season.
Yeah, he has not. Yeah. So I'm wondering if a medical redshirt's going on.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering too. And man, I hate it for Petway, but I know he's linked. That if that is his name Woolley, the stud that's on the team from Tuscaloosa. Is that his name?
That Adrian Woolley. He played with a lot of AAU with the Huntsville High guys over with Pro 1, if I remember correctly.
Man, if that guy jumps in the portal, woo, his list of suitors is going to be long. So
I'm not doing that to Petway, though. Man, I love
Were you? I'm curious, B. Rich, are you listening into what we talk about in between the breaks? Because this has literally been the entire conversation.
Hey, did you bug this bite that we almost saw fell off the ceiling?
Is that the reason why I almost did?
What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what 30 years of friendship between Drew and I has led to.
Oh, I mean, we've known Petway forever. He's just
right.
Yeah, it is.
Exactly.
And we'll see. I mean, but I was just another basketball insider. That's why I love they listen to this show. Just sent me a message. It is very likely a torn labrum situation, a shoulder for RJ Johnson. Okay. So he's hurt. He's just not playing this year.
Yeah, I think he's had problems with that shoulder maybe before in the past. I think so. I don't know if they gave him problems at Grissom, but hey, one other thing, Drew, I want to remind you. Don't forget, March 25th, Alabama is coming to Toyota Field. So
that's right. We talked about that off the air. Yeah, we blew it with the Auburn one.
Don't forget about that.
Yeah, it was our schedule. So it's March 25th. I knew it was in March. I knew they were coming. But yeah, and and at first I was a little surprised when I saw the finalized schedule because many times they've come before during the season before conference play. But now it's going to be in the midst of the SEC getting started, and we know that starts this weekend at Texas A&M for Alabama.
Right. It's a nice midweek game. I think it's maybe a Tuesday or Wednesday. They play
It's-
UNA, so a
Yep.
local tie there too. So
Yeah, it's a Tuesday
I'll let
game,
somebody
6 o'clock
else get
first
in here.
pitch.
Well, we appreciate it, B. Rich.
Appreciate you guys.
Good question there. Yeah, and we appreciate the shout out. And got another basketball insider sending me word that RJ may have a torn labrum. So we pray that he's going to get better. I figured it was an injury type situation. You know, we could have asked Coach Pett about that, but again, just wanted to make sure. And again, we want RJ to do well. He got off to a good start last year as a freshman at Kennesaw State. So, and I thought it was a really good fit for him too, to play for Coach Petway. Coach Petway, had him committed to Alabama at one point in time, and really was a champion of his. And Coach Pett told us all the guys he recruited from the Rocket City in the Madison County area.
Oh, absolutely.
But one that he stood on the table for and didn't let him go to Florida, and told Avery Johnson, we got to have this guy. He was a pretty good player, Joe. His name was Herbert Jones.
Oh. No, he said, he did all right. He did okay.
Yeah, he played at Hale County High School.
He did all right. And then Levi Randolph, we found out, was his ball boy while Coach was playing basketball here.
There you go.
That's
Make
kinda
those
crazy.
connections.
I mean, you want to talk
when
about
you're recruiting.
the interweaving of the 04-05 season and the amount between Drew, myself, Coach, Levi Randolph, and whoever else at some point in time was doing.
Well, dang it! I didn't know you were selling concessions at the time. I was the equipment manager, aka ball guy, basically, and keep operations going on the floor. You know, laundry, whatever. I mean, that's basically my official title. I think was equipment intern.
Yep.
But,
My favorite game ever for the flight. And if Coach Petway's still listening, I'm sorry to bring this up because this was really bad. It was like a school day game. It tipped off at like an 11 a.m.
We had a few of those,
and there was. I honestly was able to count the amount of fans that were in attendance on my hands. Like it was that small.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the PA announcer, whoever it was during it. Like he goes, all right, today's attendance, because you do that always around the third quarter. He's like 34-25. And we're all like, what the heck is he counting? And he literally stands up and says 34 on this side and 25 on that side.
Wow.
And I'm just going, oh my God, that was great. That was the best. And it got like a massive laughter. I think even the players were laughing at it because it was so funny because everybody was so confused at the attendance. But yeah, no, that was very fun. And when we come back, let's head to Paris. I mean, technically we're going to Jacksonville, but Mike Paris is going to be joining us. Talk a little bit about Jacksonville State as they get ready for their matchup tomorrow afternoon at 2:00 over at Probst Arena as we continue on talking ball. Drew DeArmond, Joe Hunk, John Abraham behind the glass taking your calls as we continue on 97.7 ESPN The Zone and WZZN TV.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A mostly cloudy sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid 70s. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. Very small chance that any of those thunderstorms become severe. Otherwise, we're just going to be talking about a little bit of noise across the Tennessee Valley. Dropping into the mid 50s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. We should be dry during this time period. A mostly cloudy sky Friday afternoon. Once again, temperatures climbing into the mid 70s. Showers and thunderstorms are going to build into the Tennessee Valley Friday night, early into Saturday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like we're back to a clean slate accident-wise. Everything from earlier should be clear now. Still may have some traffic signal problems, though. Pulaski Pike and Monroe Road, they've had a pretty good backup there at times this morning. RESPECT is coming. Shoal Scholar Dollars is bringing the celebration of the music of Aretha Franklin to UNA on Monday, March 31st. Tickets at shoalscholardollars.com. Captain Eck in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming.
At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Howdy, folks. Bob Baumhauer here. Whether you're planning a tailgate party at the game, cheering for your favorite teams at home, or at your local Baumhauers with your family and friends, we're here to make your football party legendary with our party-ready tray selections. From our always fresh buttermilk fried chicken tenders to the homemade Nana's chicken salad, and of course, our fresh, never frozen, award-winning buffalo-style chicken wings. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
Coming up at 11:45 today on 97.7 ESPN The Zone, the SEC basketball tournament up in Nashville will get going. You'll be able to hear that on 97.7 as the entire tournament as you listen across. So that's every single afternoon and this weekend, you're going to be able to hear it. First game on the docket for them today is going to be Arkansas and Ole Miss, as they are going to be tipping off at 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, though, at 2 o'clock over at Probst Arena, Jack State is going to play their game, as they won yesterday over FIU 65-56. And now they are waiting to see who is going to win between number 3 Middle Tennessee as well as the 6th seed La Tech. So they kind of have a day off today before they get going tomorrow, Drew.
Yeah, they do. They're the number 2 seed in this tournament. And they got a big win last night over the 10 seed FIU. And it was a little hairy for the first half. It was a 28-24 halftime lead, but they systematically pulled away. Balanced offensive effort, 65-56 win for Jack State. And now, though, they've already had a tremendous year on the gridiron, winning the Conference USA championship, going to their second straight bowl game. They've got one of the fastest growing FBS programs. They've been so successful. They've had a coaching change. We know Rich Rod went back to West Virginia. Charles Kelly is now in there. But they've got a beautiful new football operations building. The Pete is immaculate. I was just there for high school regionals. They've had a really good year, 21-11 right now, moving on to the Conference USA semifinals, and they'll be awaiting their opponent, as you said, Joe. But their longtime voice, I've been on his, he had a daily radio program I was a part of. He's been on this show many times when we've talked Jack State football. Now we're going to talk some hoops today. And, of course, he's been the longtime voice of the Big Three, football, basketball, baseball, and that's Mike Paris, and he's joined us this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mike, how you doing?
Morning, guys.
nothing like talking to Petway early in the morning gets you going, huh?
Well, yeah, and you know him well. He was on the Jack State staff under James Green for a few years too, so he's very familiar with Jack State.
Okay, as a matter of fact, we were travel partners, Kennesaw and Jacksonville State this year. Trip out to El Paso and to Las Cruces, New Mexico. We're flying back. We had played at New Mexico State on Saturday. They were at UTEP. And we're on the same flight coming back home on Sunday afternoon because you couldn't get out of there on Saturday night to get back home. So, and Petway and I, as it turned out, are on the same row. So we got to live some memories, some days going by. I don't know if you remember Mike LaPlante was an assistant for Cliff Ellis at
That's
Auburn.
right.
Was our head
I
coach.
do.
He actually hired Petway, and then Petway stayed with James Green before he answered the call from Mama to go back home down there for a few years. He's a jewel, and I'll tell you this, he has done a great job over there, and he is in a place where the way he recruits, if he can just get some guys in the Atlanta area, he is set every year.
Yeah,
I heard you guys, I just caught the tail end of the interview. The Woolley young man from Tuscaloosa can play, and I heard y'all talking about, what might happen there. I'll just say this: there's been rumors floating around since January of what may happen with him. I'll put it that way. So
right, he's been so good. It's just tough to hold on to great freshmen like that, Mike.
Right, it is, especially where we are and in this day and age of college athletics. So.
Yeah, but we certainly want him to continue to do well for Antoine. Maybe we'll see if they can get to the big dance. We know Jack State wants to, and a totally different feel, Mike. Jack State came in last year. I know they lost early. It didn't feel like they had a lot of momentum. It almost felt like that they were ready for it to be over. Not this year with Ray Harper. Very good team this year with a chance to potentially punch a ticket.
We are, as you mentioned, the number 2 seed. We probably were in first place more days than anybody else in the league. Going to the last game of the season, Saturday at home. We're tied for first with Liberty. They win their game. We're at home with Kennesaw. Played a terrific first half. We're up 12 and couldn't make shots. They just didn't make shots the second half. And I heard y'all mention Ronji Gordon.
Yes, sir.
From, down in Montgomery. He's 7 for 39 for the year at the three-point line. Only one of those three-pointers had he made in conference play. And he goes 3 for 3 in the second half at the three-point line against us. And that was a big factor. And Kennesaw comes back to beat us and knocked us out of a share of the conference title. So, but we finished second, which is good in the standpoint. As you mentioned, we're off today, semifinals tomorrow. We've only got, because of injuries before the season started, since the season began, we only have 8 scholarship guys. We play 8 players is all we play. So this day off so that we only have to go back-to-back once instead of having to play 3 days in a row, I think is big for this team.
Well, no, and part of that also is because of, you're looking at this and you have Jaron Pierre Jr. or, that man is having to score as many points as he does every single game.
Tremendous year.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. He's averaging over 20.
He is the third leading scorer in the country, or was going into last night at 21.8. He's been anywhere from right around 21.5 to over 23 throughout the season. He's from New Orleans, started his career at Southern Miss, 1 year there, transferred, went to Wichita State, was there a couple of years, and then transferred to us. This is my 42nd year at Jacksonville State, and part of those years go back to our D2 days as well. I'll just put it this way. We've had more NBA scouts at our games this year than the other 41 years that I've done this combined. I don't know. I know there were some there last night. The last probably 4 weeks, there's been a minimum of 3 NBA scouts at all of our games, home and on the road. We're in Miami at FIU 2 weeks ago. There were 6 NBA scouts there that day to see play. I think, just my opinion, in all my years of doing this, he is the best all-around guy that we've ever had. He's 6'5". He had to play the point for us at the beginning of the year. We lose the guy who's going to be our starting point guard, Kelron House, who had a great night last night for us, true freshman. He misses the first 7 games of the season because of a stress fracture. So just because we had nobody else, JP had to play the point, so the ball was in his hands, and that really got him off and going this year, I think. He can score at the three-point line and beyond. He can go downhill to the basket. He can knock down mid-range shots. He rebounds. He leads us in assists. And he made a play last night, I thought, that pretty much summarizes it as being an all-around guy. He turns it over, but he hustles back down the floor. They get it, their 6'11" guy, and he comes and blocks his shot and heads the other way and leads us to a basket on the other end. And that just, to me, typified the kind of player that he is. And in talking with him and being around him all season, everything he does, he treats it like he's a professional player. He averages 37 minutes a night, and with last night he's probably over 38 minutes a game now with the minutes he played, and he's in the top 5 in the country in that category. But we go back, I guess it was mid-January. Our trainer suggested to Ray Harper that he just give him a day off at practice. So we'd play, scheduled in the league is Thursday, Saturday in conference play. So we come back, the Saturday game, he gives him Monday off. And then he comes out, scores 30. I think it was 30, 31, that game on Thursday night. And I was doing a post-game interview with him. I said, well, what'd you do Monday? He said, hey, what would a pro do? He was in the training room. He got a massage. They were doing some STEM work on him and all that stuff. But everything he does, he treats it like he's a pro already. Every home game, he is at the peak 2.5 to 3 hours before tip-off, putting up shots to get ready for the game.
That's absolutely amazing. And I know that we focused on the shooting of this, but as you were talking, I did the math. He's got 118 assists so far this year after last night's game. That makes up 32% of the assists on your team is made up of him. He's the one that's distributing the basketball. I know the scoring is a part of that, but his ability to also find open men when he is getting covered up because of how well he shoots.
Right. Most of the time now, since we've gotten to conference play, when he gets the ball in his hands, not only has he got the guy that's defending him, but somebody else is running at him or is right there immediately when he gets the ball. And last night in particular, they tried to double him or just take him away. And if he doesn't score, we're in trouble, because the one problem we've had this year is finding that supplemental score. Our first league game of the year was against Kennesaw, January 4th, I think was when it was. Our second leading scorer, a young man named Jamar Franklin, was averaging right around between 10.5, 11 a game, and was really starting, I think, to find himself. He was a catch-and-shoot guy at the three-point line, but the last several games for us, he had started taking the ball downhill, being more aggressive, going to the basket and drawing some fouls. He goes down with a knee injury early in the second half, out for the rest of the season. And we just haven't been able consistently to find that supplemental scoring from guys. Jowie Tuka's been there at times. Our post guy, Mason Nicholson, who's been, just improved steadily throughout his career, 6'10" guy. He's been that guy at times as a second, third scorer, whatever, and Marcellus Brigham at times, but nobody consistently has been able to do it, to help JP. I'll put it that way. We have a small margin of error because we don't have that, a whole lot of depth. Our guys have to play a lot of minutes. When we're good, actually, we're pretty good. But now when we're bad, we can be pretty bad at times too. I'll put it that way. But it's been fun. Really didn't know what to expect, because we got roughly 10 new guys that transferred in this year. And again, you lose your starting point guard, and your number 2 guy misses the first 7 games of the season. And not only did he miss those games, but him being a true freshman, missing that practice time, that was really, Ray Harper said, was the one thing that hurt him the most, was missing the practice time and not just the games during that period as well. So, but he has been pretty solid, Kel Ron House has, since he took over as the starting point guard there, game 2 of the conference schedule this year.
Talking to Mike Paris, longtime voice of the Jack State Gamecocks. It's interesting, too. You're going to get the winner of Middle Tennessee and Louisiana Tech. Looks like you had 2 big-time battles with La Tech, who is the 6th seed, both of them 2-point games. And then you had a split with Middle Tennessee, both of you winning by double digits against each other. Is there a preference in your mind for the matchup? Because a lot of these conference tournaments are matchups, but there's in a league like Conference USA, though, I watched it last year with the 3 seed Western Kentucky winning it. There ain't a whole lot of difference between maybe 1 and even 7, 8, 9, 10, because it was only a 4-point game last night against FIU at the half.
Well, Conference USA this year, much better. I'll say deeper. Going into the tournament and talking to some of my fellow broadcasters, we all agreed outside of FIU, the other 9 teams, anybody could win the tournament. That's how close and balanced the teams are. And we've been in the top 10 in the power rankings all year. As far as the conference rankings go, we've been ahead of the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, all season. We were as high as number 8, and we're number 9, and we've been at number 9 the better part of the season now, the second half of the season. So you can see the quality of play. Liberty's been, I think, a top 75, maybe top 50 at times as far as their KenPom ranking, the net ranking from the NCAA. We've been in the top 125 pretty much all season, and we've been right around 100 at times this year as well. So league has been very good, very balanced. If you check our scores, we really haven't blown anybody out in conference play. It's been a battle and a dogfight every time. Now, to get back to your question, I think Middle probably is a little more talented than La Tech, but now Louisiana Tech is tough. But Tavitt Hester, their head coach, done a terrific job in that program in a short period of time. He's been there. They should have won the league last year. I thought they were the better team. They lose on the final day of the season. Sam Houston wins, and so Sam Houston was a regular season champ. They're tough. They're probably neither one of these teams are going to be as physical as a New Mexico State will be. And Liberty plays entirely different than everybody else as well. So our matchup, Middle's got a big guy who transferred in. He started his career at Coastal Carolina. Mustafa's his last name, Hassan Mustafa. 3 years at Coastal, and then was, I think, at TCU last year. He's been great there inside for them. Then they've got a terrific guard at Justin Porter. La Tech, a little more balanced. They may have the best point guard in the league in Sean Newman. He leads the league in assists. He had a 20-assist game earlier this year. So whoever we get a tough matchup, I think the better matchup for us really is probably Louisiana Tech, but they do some things that might hurt us more than what Middle Tennessee does. Middle Tennessee a little more athletic with a couple of their spots on the floor than La Tech.
Well, we're looking forward to it, no doubt. Nice win last night for Jack State, 65-56. They will get the winner, as we were just mentioning, of Middle Tennessee and Louisiana Tech, and they will take the floor at 2 o'clock on Friday, and that will be on CBS Sports Network. But come out, everybody, in the Rocket City. Come see Jack State. Come see some outstanding high-level basketball. You'll have Antoine Petway tonight. And I actually like this setup of this tournament. It's unique. It's a little bit different the way they do it, and the men's and the women's are at the same location. But the last 2 years has been enjoyable, Mike. I like the way they've been doing this.
Tell you, the league does a nice job as far as the tournament goes. And I don't know. I think it is a 2-year deal with Huntsville, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just hoping it's real nice to be able to be 2 hours from home, drive back and forth if you need to. As a matter of fact, I had a death in the family earlier in the week, so I'm actually headed back today. So this day off for us has helped me out some, and I'm just going back to check on some family members here as I head back today. So, but it's nice to be this close to home.
It really is. Prayers to your family. And again, I believe they're coming back now. I believe they've announced that we'll be back next year in Huntsville. So we look forward to being the host of the CUSA tournament. And it's a great league. Getting better every year too. The quality of basketball. I told Steve Moulton this. We did the show live from there on Tuesday. You can always tell when it's Division I basketball when they walk out on the floor. Love Division II, love UAH. When you see these Division I athletes, it's there's no mistaking it. Hopefully Jack State hey, I'm going to be selfish here. I hope it's Jack State and Kennesaw in the finals myself. I'd like to see Petway and you guys.
Well, they've beaten us twice, so hopefully we can get them if it happens a third time. But I think that would be great, and I think you'd have a pretty good crowd for that matchup since we're only an hour and a half from each other, really. Jacksonville State, Kennesaw, then head to Huntsville and play. 2 hours for us from campus, and it's probably 3.5, maybe 4 for Kennesaw for their folks to get to Huntsville from there. So ought to be a good time.
Yes, sir.
Steve Moulton, I heard that promo. I didn't know he could get that excited at a ball game, man.
Oh, you hadn't heard nothing yet, man.
I know.
Steve,
if you got time, I was Lenny Acuff.
Yes.
You mentioned the morning radio show. I'm not doing that one anymore.
Yes, sir.
Changed some things. I got another side hustle I'm doing. A guy that owns 7 radio stations, helping him, doing some work as a sports director for him for his stations. So I'm spending some time across the state line in Georgia. And so Lipscomb comes down to play at West Georgia over in Carrollton, Georgia. So I go with a couple of folks in that area because of Coach Acuff, just go to the game that night. And I'll tell you, boy, you talk about a class act. I'm happy for him and Lipscomb to get to the NCAA tournament. And he was talking about that UAH team, and he knew just about everything about it. Of all the great teams he had when he was the coach there at UAH, he told us that night this might be the best team that they've ever had there with the Chargers.
It's crazy. 30 straight wins, man. What a run.
So, but it was I hadn't seen him. You know, we were in the league with him for a couple of years, and we were in the A-Sun before the move to Conference USA.
Yes, that's
Good
right.
to see him and talk to him again.
Well, absolutely, Mike, and safe travels. Have a great call Friday,
Thanks,
my friend. Thank you for
sir.
taking some time out to talk some Jack State hoops, and but we look forward to speaking with you again. Hopefully, when you guys are, maybe we'll have you on in a few days if you cut the nets down, man. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks, sir. Always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, sir. That was Price or Paris, I should say.
Mike
I almost said Mike Price, man. I was sitting here and I was like, don't say Price, don't say Price,
That's
don't
when it
say
happens, though.
Yes, and so I was like, no. So Mike Paris, there we go. He spent a lot more time in the state of Alabama than Mike Price did. As we
42 years, the voice of the Gamecocks.
Yeah, we only have a few seconds, so we'll get to break so we can run right back into this and we get back and wrap up Talking Ball at 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Yeah.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
It's time for tomorrow's
Ball game.
You said everybody with a few seconds.
It's only a few seconds.
There we go.
And it's only like 45 seconds now. Arkansas and Ole Miss are going to get going at noon today, Drew.
That's right. Arkansas, Ole Miss. We're looking forward to that lineup today. You can hear every game, as Joe said, starting at 11:45 for the SEC. It's going to be the best conference tournament in the country. But if you want to watch that on your iPad, but then come out to the BBC tonight for this afternoon, this evening, you got women's basketball going on in the Conference USA. You got men's. You got hoop everywhere. Home of the SEC tournament, 97.7 The Zone, and also head out to the BBC tonight to see Kennesaw State and Antoine Petway.
All right, that does it for Drew. John and I continue on the Blitz next on 97.7 ESPN The Zone at WCCN TV.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman